I mean, that's clearly a foul, which was called. The question is, will they call it unnecessary? Chennedy Carter
has finally broken her silence about this Caitlin Clark situation. Chennedy Carter just jumped out the window and justified an assault.
How does one of the WNBA's most formidable offensive threats end up completely shut out as the league prepares for a new season? Chennedy Carter, a player whose scoring ability is undeniable, is noticeably missing from every team roster. This is a perplexing situation that is almost unheard of for someone bragging about her statistical output. There is a shadow over her career cast by a highly publicized altercation with the league's brightest new star, and rumors of a pattern of behavior the team seems unwilling to risk what actually happened. And why has Carter turned into a nobody? In the league, she once seemed destined to leave a lasting impression. The silence surrounding her is deafening, suggesting a story simmering beneath the surface.
Down that situation that happened.
Yeah. So, in basketball a little bit, there's things called talking, what you like to call smack or whatever everybody likes to call it.
Yeah.
Plays before things are said, you know.
The incident that started this firestorm happened last June during what should have been just another regular season game between the Chicago Sky and the Indiana Fever. As the game progressed, rookie sensation Caitlin Clark, who captivated the sports world and attracted unprecedented attention to the WNBA, had just finished a play. Fresh off scoring a basket, Carter took a quick, intentional detour across the court. Her route wasn't determined by defensive positioning, and it led straight to an unprepared Clark. The scene is captured in slow motion on replays, and it looks like Carter says a few words, keeping her eyes on Clark before giving him a hard, blindside shoulder check that sent Clark sprawling to the hardwood. The officials took another look after reviewing the call, and it was swiftly and decisively upgraded to a flagrant foul. This wasn't just incidental contact, though. It was deemed unnecessary and excessive, a deliberate act delivered after the play was dead in stark contrast to the aggression she faced. At first, the whistle blew for a blunt, forceful collision with undeniable intent. Although Clark showed incredible composure by getting up, brushing herself off, and concentrating on the game without complaining or taking offense, the damage had already been done. League observers and commentators realized that this wasn't just hard-nosed basketball. It felt like personal targeting, and it turned out that Carter's actions had raised serious red flags before.
Been kind of up against the fence when we're speaking about this Caitlin Clark situation. We remember when she first got asked about this during a press conference, she stated that she wasn't going to speak on Caitlin Clark. Now we know months later, she still hasn't spoken on the whole situation. That is until today. Yes, Chennedy Carter finally broken her silence about
concerns regarding Carter's temperament and professionalism had previously surfaced during her time with the Atlanta Dream in 2021. Although details were initially kept under wraps, reports later surfaced describing a heated argument in the locker room between Carter and then teammate Courtney Williams. Sources suggested the altercation escalated to the point where Carter was allegedly sent away from the team mid-down, and there were allegations she even sought a physical altercation. Though Williams reportedly avoided escalation, this explosive incident wasn't the only instance on Carter's record. This past suspension added a crucial layer of context to the Clark incident, suggesting a possible pattern rather than a single moment of poor judgment. This history, which culminated in the Dream trading her to the Los Angeles Sparks, painted a picture of potential volatility and established a precedent suggesting that problems with team dynamics and handling conflict weren't entirely new territory. For Carter, additionally, this history dramatically intersected with the league's rapidly changing landscape and its biggest emerging star.
With Teresa Weatherspoon, with Angel Reese, with Camila Cardoso, and, you know, the rest of the folks. And then we get to the body check. This was originally ruled an away from the ball foul, but it was obviously a flagrant foul. It really upset a lot of people, which really escalated the issue, and it was really just poor.
The Clark event couldn't have come at a more crucial moment. The WNBA is presently experiencing unparalleled expansion, shattering attendance records and attracting sold-out audiences. The phenomenon known as the Clark effect, which refers to the enormous popularity and media attention that followed Caitlin Clark from her illustrious college career into the pros, is a major contributor to this increase. Naturally, the league is well aware of this fantastic possibility and is working tirelessly to preserve its reputation by highlighting professionalism and protecting its best players in an effort to establish itself as a major participant in the sports world. In the immediate aftermath of that game, Carter's egregious foul play, especially against Clark, was perceived as not only bad sportsmanship, but also as a direct threat to the momentum the league is trying so hard to build. Carter's public handling of the matter did little to allay worries. When the media asked her about the Clark episode in particular, she famously sidestepped the topic by saying, "I don't know Caitlin Clark questions." This failure to come out openly was followed by months of public silence on the subject, which allowed rumors and criticism to grow. Eventually, Carter decided to speak, providing an explanation that may have done more harm than good.
Pushing Caitlin Clark, and it's another thing blindsiding her. Like, I don't think there's no justification for that. Like, to be honest, we can be.
Months after the incident, with the 2025 WNBA training camps quickly approaching and Carter still noticeably unsigned, Carter made an appearance in an interview with online streamer Neon. Her attempt to explain what happened during the Clark incident backfired spectacularly, as Carter casually downplayed the forceful blindside shoulder check, describing it as mere smack talk, a bit of competitive fire, and just giving Clark a little like I'm here tap. Perhaps even more shockingly, Carter introduced a previously unmentioned detail suggesting she may have been elbowed by Clark on the play before the foul occurred. This convenient justification, however, found no support in the game footage, which showed no such provocation from Clark analysts, and fans swiftly branded this as a questionable attempt to justify her actions retroactively. Carter also attempted to contextualize the infraction by drawing parallels to physical altercations in the NBA, citing instances of players becoming irate and pushing players like LeBron James. However, critics emphasized the fundamental difference. Her foul was intentional, off-ball, and appeared unrelated to any real basketball play. It wasn't a moment of rage during live action. Rather, it appeared calculated. This attempt to reframe the story didn't work as planned. Rather, it seemed to highlight the very problems that were making teams hesitate.
Playing a league where you're targeted like that. How do you sit here and profess and demand that everyone take women's sports seriously when you can't even take it seriously enough to not act like a junior high queen on the court? It's stupid. That's so dumb.
Social media platforms erupted in incredulity and charges of spin following Carter's explanation in the interview. One fan's comment, which encapsulated the commonly held feeling, said, "You all seriously don't believe her, do you?" This mistrust wasn't limited to casual admirers. As Carter faced the harsh reality of unemployment with the season approaching, the interview was widely criticized by basketball commentators and analysts who saw it as a blatant last-ditch PR attempt. The timing, after months of silence, felt far too convenient to be solely about correcting a record. Carter's abrupt change of tone toward Caitlin Clark, who had previously made remarks that appeared to minimize Clark's skill set beyond shooting, was fueling the flames. This 180-degree turn felt less like genuine respect and more like a calculated tactic to appear regretful and reasonable without actually admitting fault or taking concrete responsibility for the egregious foul play. Carter was now lavishing her with praise, calling her a great player and even comparing her impact to LeBron James. It was widely acknowledged that the interview did not improve Carter's reputation, but rather strengthened the idea that she had trouble taking responsibility, which further harmed her already precarious position. This opinion was not limited to fans. It also struck a deep chord within the league's corridors of power.
Did suspend her in the middle of the sophomore season, basically saying she was a detriment to the team and the team culture. So then the Atlanta Dream decided to trade her to the Sparks.
The Chicago Sky, Carter's former team, made a decision that speaks volumes. they decided not to extend Carter a qualifying offer, effectively allowing their top scorer from the previous season to walk away as an unrestricted free agent for nothing. In return, this is a highly unusual decision in professional sports, where valuable assets are rarely let go without compensation unless there are significant underlying problems. However, General Manager Jeff Pagliuca of the Sky provided diplomatic explanations, citing changes in team staff and roster fit. According to reliable reports, there was another tale going on behind closed doors. The most damning evidence came from an anonymous WNBA executive who reportedly told media outlets that teams wouldn't touch her with a 10-foot pole. Even under the guise of anonymity, this brutal honesty indicates that Carter's reputation has become radioactive within league circles. Rumors of significant locker room friction and concerns that Carter's presence was detrimental to team chemistry painted a far more troubling picture. The total lack of response from each of the 12 WNBA teams, no reported workout invitations, no training camp deals. For a player with Carter's shown scoring ability, averaging 17.5 points per game, not even the slightest murmurs of interest are unusual. This collective rejection demands a sobering analysis of what attributes beyond skill are actually prized in professional sports.
Want to make a WNBA roster, and as it sit, April 20th, training camps start for teams in 7 days. Training camp for a majority of the WNBA start April the 27th. Chennedy Carter is not on any WNBA roster. Want to know why? Because it's Chennedy Carter's fault.
Chennedy Carter's situation perfectly captures a perennial conundrum in sports. Where does indisputable talent stop and character issues start? Basketball is essentially a team sport based on trust, unity, and common objectives. But she has proven that she can be an offensive force at the top level and that she can put the ball in the basket without a doubt. Front offices take into account more than just points per game. They also take into account locker room dynamics, potential disruptions, how a player's presence might affect the team environment as a whole, and even the ability to attract other free agents. Carter's actions against Clark, which were interpreted as targeting an opponent with a non-basketball play, along with her subsequent handling of the situation and her history of team-related issues, have seriously cast doubt on her dependability as a teammate. Whether true or not, it is believed that Carter might put personal grudges or accountability issues ahead of the team's overall performance in a league that is expanding rapidly and under intense scrutiny. Teams seem hesitant to take a chance on such a volatile package, regardless of the offensive potential or her ongoing unemployment, while players with less impressive stats, safe roster places, highlight a terrible reality. It is tough to overlook the contrast as the WNBA confidently enters its most anticipated season. Reputation and perceived character can occasionally surpass raw talent.
Okay, that happens. Think the next play down, maybe something was said, and then maybe there was like a little clip of somebody like yelling in my face, and then we go down the court. Then I hit like a little bucket, you feel me? Come down, hit like a little nice little mid-range pull-up. And then I just like, just give her like a little like, I'm here. Like, I don't think it was, what's crazy? Me and my brother went back and watched, and we seen a lot of clips in the NBA of guys getting like pushing LeBron. Like, I think it was Jeff Teague or somebody who like pushed LeBron out of bounds, like said.
Stopped and went through. Like, oh. Like, that is not, we watched the clip. There is no way that we're letting this happen. Like saying it was nothing. Like this is not a little.
Chennedy Carter finds herself on the outside, looking in as a talented player, sidelined not by injury, but seemingly by her own actions, and the fallout that follows as the WNBA gets ready for a season full of promise and unprecedented attention. Driven largely by the excitement surrounding Caitlin Clark, one of its most gifted scorers, remaining conspicuously absent. It is debatable whether Carter's situation represents a just consequence, a necessary measure for league integrity, or a career derailed by a series of missteps and misunderstandings. But one thing is certain, her absence casts a long shadow that prompts reflection on what truly defines value in the modern sports landscape. Her story serves as a complex, potentially cautionary tale about the delicate balance between individual brilliance and team integration, about the weight of accountability and the power of reputation in the high-stakes world of professional sports. The league, focused on growth and protecting its stars, seems to have made a definitive statement.